as a songwriter, I think in general we all seem to have a process that happens, but each one of us, I think, maybe comes at it a little differently.
Mm-hmm.
For you, is it words first? Is it music first? Do you hear a sound and then you build everything around that? And then by sound, I mean, do you hear the harmonium, or do you hear what was the stringed instrument you were playing?
Oh, the triango. Yeah.
Right, or something like that. Do you
Yeah.
hear that, and then you build something around that? How does it work for you?
I think, yeah, every instrument has its own charm. I think with the triango, for example, when I started learning it, I just had a few chords that I really liked, and I think for that piece I started with the chords, and then just got inspired to do. It was making me think of nighttime and the moon and everything, so that's how I ended up but it was a kind of intuitive process with starting with the chords and then getting some other ideas for the poetry side of it.
You have some really intriguing, and I'm going to apologize right now because I'm probably going to get the title wrong, but you have some intriguing titles, and one that I think I saw in the video was, is it A Million Broken Bicycles?
Yeah, A Million Broken Bikes.
A Million Broken Bikes. And I think that's so cool, but I'm like, wow, how does a person get to that kind of a theme, that idea? What was behind that song? Can you?
Oh, there's a lot behind that song. There's actually, okay, so it's a kind of a meme, I guess, that's been passed on by different performers and poets and musicians. I kind of tried to trace it at a certain point. It's kind of out there if you start Googling it. It all started with this poet, I think he was in the I'm not sure, I think it was 1970s, is a Palestinian poet, and he wrote a poem called A Million Nightingales, and he was writing about, no matter how oppressed I am, I still have a million nightingales in my soul living on living in the branches of my heart.
Yeah.
And so I really liked that line. And I heard a totally different choral arrangement of his poem, but they only took a few lines from it, and it was by a choral director in New York, and she made this like super beautiful, it was like probably 20 women singing this song about the million nightingales in their hearts, and then that song was just kicking around in my head for like months, and then one day I was just jamming on my looping pedal, and then I wasn't even thinking of the nightingales. I was just thinking of, a million this, a million that, a million this, a million that. And then it just kind of started coming together in this different way. And I wrote to the choral director and everything, and she told me about this Palestinian poet. And actually, if you look him up, I can't remember his name right now, actually, but he's influenced a lot of different playwrights, too, because that meme has come up in different theater productions and stuff. And so it's kind of out there in the mass consciousness, so I just kind of grabbed it and made a different version of it.
Well, I'm sitting here grinning and kind of snickering to myself, because the whole time you're telling me this beautiful answer, I'm picturing you in a house with a yard, and there's a million broken bicycles all piled up in the yard somewhere. I'm taking it way too literally.
But actually, the broken bikes was because that year, when I started writing that song, that year I went to Burning Man, and there was someone who made an archway out of broken bicycles, and it was huge, and that's where I got the image from.
I think I saw that image
Have
online.
you seen it? It's
I think
really
so,
cool.
Yes.
It's like it's a circular archway, and it's massive, and there's got to be about I don't know, it looks like 1,000 bicycles just like all fused together in this big crazy archway thing. It's really cool.
And we are going to get to Burning Man in just a minute, because that's very intriguing to me. But maybe since we've been talking about your influences, would you like to maybe just show us a little bit about one of the instruments that you use?
Okay, so this is one instrument, and this is called a harmonium. So as you can see, it's like it's a piano in a box, and it has bellows right here. So you kind of.
I bet a lot of keyboard players would really be jealous of this, to be able to carry around their keyboard in one little box.
Well, it's tricky because you can only you got to play with one hand.
Yes.
So you got to so you press the notes. So that's how it works. So you got to pump it like an accordion, and then you can also use it like a drone instrument.
Is it polyphonic? I mean, it'll play several. Could you play a chord?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's like half an accordion.
Yeah, yeah. And it's used in India as an accompaniment for singers. So usually like the main part of what's happening in the performance is the voice, and then they just use it. They use it as a drone or as a backup for the melody.
Right.
So you can have like this kind of ongoing layer of sound going on, and then you can just like improvise on top, or you can perform a whole other song, or just do melodies on top of the drum. Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming you don't just go to Guitar Center and ask them for a harmonium. I mean, this is not your average everyday off-the-shelf instrument,
That's
right?
true.
Where does one get one of these things?
One can find them on the internet, but I got this one in India. I was traveling there 6 years ago,
right?
And I was staying with a family, and I told the mother of the family that I was staying with, I was like, "Oh, I'm really interested in the music from India." She's like, "We go to get harmoniums," and so we went, and I was like, "Yeah, cool!" And it was awesome. There's like whole markets where they sell musical instruments,
yes,
and like whole aisles of like every single harmonium, like millions of harmoniums.
Were your eyes like this big
yeah,
the whole
I was
time?
just like, I didn't say a word though. I let her haggle for me. I just
oh yeah,
didn't say, yeah,
smart.
yeah.
That was probably very smart.
They were gonna charge me double for sure, or triple, or quadruple.
So when she said harmonium, you already knew, right?
Yeah, I already knew.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually first heard of them because I saw Beck use it in a performance many years ago. I saw him.
I remember
in a
that
live
name,
concert. Beck.
Once Upon a Time.
Yes.
Yes.
I believe he used a harmonium once. I saw him in a concert. I think it was a video, and I was like, "What is he playing?" Yeah,
now,
so I was aware. Yeah.
I just saw you recently at Glenwood Books and Coffee, and you were playing this. But on several occasions when I've seen you, you've been using different people as collaborators. Is that a big part of your musical experience?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, definitely. I haven't had a solid band for a while, but if I meet someone and I really like the music that they're making, then I try to set up a collaboration, and it's always going to be different, depending on what they bring to the table and what they want to do. And for example, I was singing with Tony Truno. She sings in a local band, Elemeno.
Yes.
And she has a really beautiful, powerful voice. So
now she came to the showcase.
Yes. So she was singing with me, and we want to do some more singing things together. And then Sajal, who you saw, who's a guitarist, and he recently moved here to Greensboro from Asheville.
Right.
And he has a whole background in like experimental music and noise music and playing guitar for different kinds of rock bands and stuff. And
yeah, we were discussing that before the interview started, and I was having a hard time wrapping my head around it. But as you explained it, I got it a little better. Yeah.
It's I call it mind enhancing music. It's not linear music. But yeah.
No, I get that. There have been musicians throughout history that have played for their shock value, just to really jar people out of whatever stupor or coma they're in and get them thinking something else.
That's
or experiencing something else.
That's right, because if you're I love pop music. I'm totally a fan of pop music. But it's still, it still has certain parameters, of, a verse, chorus, and then, certain kind of chords, progressions that you're going to choose and everything.
There are rules that if you're
you
going to
could
play
break
the game right, you have to follow.
Well, plenty of people, like, break the rules all the time and make great pop music, and it's fine.
Yeah.
But there's, like, even bigger umbrella rules. Like, they're just not going to sit there and play, like, feedback for 20 minutes. Like, that would never happen in a pop concert, right? But there's, like, whole other underground movements of people playing that kind of music. Like, just, like, noisy, crazy, jarring music. And I think it's beautiful.
Why don't I get the feeling that this would be the kind of music you might hear at Burning Man?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Well,
there seems to be a theme today.
There are some people who do play that kind of music at Burning Man, but it's mostly electronic music there. It's mostly, like, kind of dance music. But yeah, there are other types of